Imagine losing a loved one in a tragic accident that could have been easily prevented. Now picture that heartbreak multiplied across a family forever changed. That's the devastating reality in a recent Auckland case, where a business owner faces jail time for a deadly oversight on the roads. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this a story of one person's reckless choices, or a symptom of deeper flaws in our system that leave hard-working folks with impossible dilemmas? Stick around as we unpack the details, shedding light on safety regulations, personal desperation, and the ripple effects of a preventable loss. And this is the part most people miss: the emotional toll on families, and how it sparks bigger questions about who really shoulders the blame for tragedies like this. In a heart-wrenching incident that rocked the Auckland community, Ashik Ali, the owner of a business, was sentenced to 3 years in prison for manslaughter. This followed the fatal collision involving his problematic truck that claimed the life of roadworker Jonathon Walters in Remuera back in May 2024. Let's break this down step by step to make sense of the events, especially for those new to these kinds of stories. Jonathon was rushed to the hospital in critical condition after the accident, but sadly passed away just 2 days later, leaving his worn-out family in profound grief. The truck in question was carrying a heavy load of about 20 tons of roading material, think gravel, or asphalt used for road construction, when it inexplicably rolled backwards. The culprit? A brake failure that sent it careening toward a group of road workers, ultimately crushing Jonathon's legs and pelvic area. This wasn't just any vehicle, it was riddled with issues that should have kept it off the roads entirely. For beginners wondering about vehicle safety in New Zealand, think of a Certificate of Fitness, COF, as a mandatory annual checkup that ensures trucks meet basic standards for brakes, tires, and more, similar to a health check for your car. Ali's truck hadn't passed one since 2019, and in 2021, authorities had issued a non-operation order, which is like a red flag telling owners to ground the vehicle until it's fixed and safe. Despite this, the truck hit the streets again and again. The Crown prosecutor, Claire Antonin, painted a stark picture in the High Court before Justice Graham Lang. She argued that this death was entirely avoidable, describing the truck as so poorly maintained it had no business being on public roads. To illustrate, police vehicle safety teams had pulled it over multiple times, discovering major defects like a dangerous air leak in the braking system. Basically, the brakes couldn't hold because air was escaping, making stops unreliable. This wasn't a one-off. There was a long history of non-compliance dating back to 2018, with orders ignored and even stickers, pink or green ones, signaling warnings or bans, slapped on the truck at different points. Antonin emphasized that Ali knowingly defied these directives on several occasions, driving the vehicle anyway. In her words, Jonathon's death stemmed directly from Ali's refusal to ensure his truck was roadworthy and safe for others. It's a sobering reminder: when we talk about road safety, it's not just about following the rules, it's about protecting lives, and ignoring warnings can have catastrophic outcomes. But here's where it gets controversial again. The defense offered a different lens, highlighting Ali's personal struggles and raising questions about whether society sets people up for failure. Ali's lawyer, Ron Mansfield KC, explained that his client was trapped in a tough financial spot, desperate enough that he couldn't afford the repairs needed to make the truck compliant. Turning down work wasn't an option either, as it might mean losing future opportunities in a competitive market. Mansfield described this desperation as the root cause, leading to Ali accepting a job he knew involved risks. He admitted it was a grave error with terrible consequences, but stressed that Ali never intended or foresaw such a tragedy. For instance, think of small business owners in industries like trucking, where overheads can pile up. Repairs for a heavy-duty vehicle might cost thousands. And without steady income, it's a catch-22 that some argue systemic issues like economic pressures or insufficient support exacerbate. Justice Lang, in delivering the sentence, acknowledged the financial pressures, but firmly stated they didn't excuse putting others in danger. He noted that Ali's actions fell far below what a reasonable person would do, prioritizing profit or survival over safety. The judge also addressed the devastating impact, calling Jonathon's death a catastrophe for his family, friends, and colleagues, ripples that extend far beyond the courtroom. To help beginners grasp this, manslaughter here refers to unintentional killing through reckless behavior, not premeditated murder, but the jail time reflects the seriousness of the breach. Adding fuel to the debate, the National Road Carriers Association, NRCA, pointed fingers at a broader systemic failure, suggesting that wider issues in regulation or industry support played a role. But the New Zealand Transport Agency, NZTA, pushed back, insisting it was an individual's choice. They explained using regulatory tools to flag the vehicle's dangers and ban it, yet Ali chose to drive illegally anyway. This clash, systemic blame versus personal responsibility, is a hot topic. Is it fair to jail someone caught in economic desperation, or should we focus on fixing the systems that leave vulnerable workers with no good options? For example, some might argue for better subsidies for repairs in low-income businesses to prevent these tragedies. The emotional core of this story shines through in the victim impact statements from Jonathon's whānau, delivered with tears in court. His sister, Karen Fraser, shared her anguish over not reaching Auckland in time to say goodbye, a denial that has caused lasting emotional pain she'll carry forever. She described Jonathon as a devoted father, loving uncle, and a stabilizing force for the family's younger members, the Tamariki children. His absence creates a void that's especially painful for the next generations. Fraser expressed deep worry for other relatives in similar roadwork jobs, now haunted by anxiety that they might suffer the same fate due to someone else's negligence. Because of your actions, I now carry a consistent anxiety that they too may go to work one day and not return to their whānau, she told Ali, her words a powerful call for accountability. Jonathon's niece, Alia Tautohe Fraser, echoed this pain, noting how his mokapuna, grandchildren, have been deprived of the life experiences only a grandparent can provide. She posed a critical question: how can we ensure the safety of these whānau members to make sure that this doesn't happen again? It's a thought-provoking point that invites us all to think about road safety measures, worker protections, and perhaps even stricter enforcement or support programs to prevent such losses. In wrapping this up, cases like this force us to confront uncomfortable truths about safety, responsibility, and the human cost of oversight. Was Ali's desperation a valid excuse, or does it highlight a need for societal change? Do you think the system failed him, or was this purely his fault? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with the sentence, or disagree? Let's discuss: should we prioritize individual accountability, or invest more in systemic fixes to avoid future heartbreaks? This story from INZ, available at https://www.rnz Company NZ News. National Auckland business owner jailed for 3 years after unregistered truck killed worker in Remuera, reminds us that behind every headline is a family forever altered.